Hi everyone, welcome back. So we've got everything done, I think, except we need to cut one more hole to let the marble out of the lower, which is optional actually, because if the if the marble falls down through the hole, you can just turn it upside down and kind of work it around to get it out of a hole or one of the corner holes. But we're going to put one down here in the corner. It'll be, I think, a little nicer that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create, so first of all, I want to look to see which way I'm going to hold this when I'm playing it probably. So I think like here's my start in here. So I think I'm going to actually end up holding it this way-ish. So maybe like here. So yeah, I'm going to start out here. So my start is right in here. And I would roll the marble forward and then come back around this way towards myself. And then again a little bit away and then towards myself, back around here and through here, around there. Yeah, so this is probably the best way to play it, as opposed to, I think if I were to do, let's try this side. This side I really can't see the marble to start with, so I don't know if I would want to play it kind of sideways first. I like the idea of forward, back first. So I'm going to design it to be played this way. It's however you want to design yours to be played. What that will matter is anything that I write on the walls should probably be on the walls facing the direction that I'm going to play it. So I'm going to be thoughtful about all these walls here that I can write stuff on and put comments on and kind of play with a little bit. So when we go to flatten it out, we'll really think about which way we're going to play it. But for me, this is the way I'm going to play it, from the left side. Okay. So what that means is, let me go back to the left side so we can see it. So here I can see I'm on the left side. I want the marble return to be right here in the this lower right-hand side right here, because that's kind of where my hand will be, and I can just put it back into my hand. So that's where I'm going to cut mine. You can cut yours wherever you'd like. Or not even cut one, that's fine too. So I'm going to create a sketch on this face, because I'm going to put the hole right in this space right in here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here, I'm going to draw a hole that's hole diameter. So I know the marble will come out of there. And I'm going to hit enter. And I'm going to move this. Oh, it's pretty big. Yeah. So I'm actually going to draw a line. And I probably want it as close to this corner as I can get it. Although this little piece of wood that's left behind here is going to be super weak. So I'm actually going to move it up here this way a little bit. Maybe right in the middle of those two. Yeah, so it's gonna nick. So I don't know, maybe I didn't make this big enough. I'm not gonna change it now, but it might be better if we had made this lower chamber a little bigger now, I guess. I don't know. So actually, you know what I'm gonna do? No, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm just thinking as I'm doing stuff here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna center this in between these two, like in between this tab, because this is a hole anyway. And then I'm going to actually cut out, I'm going to cut out straight down to that tab. So that tab is basically worthless at this point, but it's going to make a nice dropout point for the marble. So yeah, I think I'll do that. So I'm going to take, or maybe not, maybe I'll make it touch this line here. Yeah, I think I'll make it touch it. So I'm going to use a tangent curve. So remember, tangent has two uses for us. It says make a curve, touch something only once. Don't pass through it, right? Don't go into it, just barely touch it. Or it means have a line come off smoothly off a curve. So in this case, I want this circle touching this line there. So I'm going to come over here to the tangent tool. I'm going to click on my circle, so I'm going to make that, oh, I already had it clicked, that tangent to that. And see how we just moved it down? It's going to just, if I zoom in, it's going to just barely touch it. See how it just barely touches it once? All right. So now that's lined up perfectly. And now I want to center it on like left, right on here. To do that, I need to draw a construction line that's centered on this one. So I'm going to center on this one actually, because right now I think this one's going to get in the way. Oh, maybe not. Right there. I'm just going to drag this construction line up here. I'm going to hit escape. Now I'm going to do what's called a coincidence, which means I want a point, 2 points to touch each other. or a point to touch some object. I want to move the middle of the circle, this point, and I want to make it be on this line. So I'm going to click on that. Did I not do the coincidence tool? So now I have the coincidence tool. I can see the symbol by my cursor now. So I'm going to click on this one, and that line was already clicked. So it moved it over so that the dot was on that line. And that's how we take a point, a center point, and move it onto something else. And notice it moved it straight over. It didn't move it up and down because it already said I wanted it touching this line. And the only way to have the circle touch this line and the center to be on this line was to scooch over. Now it's centered. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually drop some tangent lines. I'm going to start down here first and come up, remove the construction part of it, and come up here, and right there is tangent. And then from here, right there is tangent. And now I'm just going to cut out all three of these and let it be a hole there. So I'm going to say extrude, and I'm going to choose this one, this one, this one. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. You can see there's already a hole below it. And then I'm just going to do, tip it so I can see which way. There we go, all the way there. And then say just go all the way through. I'm going to click OK. Ooh, my computer is. Oh, remember the all the way through, it wants to go like all the way through the other side. So I can't do all the way through. But what I can do is do distance. And I know I want it to be thickness. And it's going the opposite direction I'm doing, so I'm just going to do negative thickness instead. Same result. If I had turned all the other things off, then all the way through would end at the back of the wall. But because everything else is on, it's trying to punch all the way through the entire object. So I'm going to click OK. And now I've got my little opening. I can see inside there. I've got my little opening that allows the marble to roll right back out. Awesome. Now, if your tab wasn't the same size as my tab, you wouldn't want that bottom to cave in too much. Mine caves in a little bit, but I think it'll be okay. If it caves in too much, the marble will get trapped there. Although it will be able to get out if you just tip it up a little bit. So maybe some inward angle would be good, because then the marble couldn't roll out by itself. It would have to be tipped up a little bit as well, if that makes any sense at all. So again, I'm going to be playing it from the viewing of the left side, right? So, and there's my marble return right there. So it falls down there, then I just roll it around to get right there. All right, that's it for that. Now we're going to flatten it. So flattening, you got to really decide which way you're going to play it. Because when we flatten it, we're going to do all the playing sides face up so that when you can laser engrave on them. Okay, except for maybe the outside walls, which we may want to engrave on the back. Although this back wall, maybe I'm going to engrave something on this back wall because it's a big surface. I might engrave something on this side. So the only thing we have to think about now is which side we want to engrave on. So before we get up to all that though, let's highlight all these. So I'm going to click on the first one. I'm going to hold shift and click on the last one. That highlights everything in between. I'm going to right click on them and do a copy. I'm going to come up to the very top here. I'm going to create a new component. So I'm going to right click and go new component. And I'm going to come down to my new component. I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to do paste. And now when I open up this, so I pasted it, but the weird thing is it's going to always ask you to move it after it pastes it because it pastes it right on top of the other object. So I'm going to zoom out so I can see where it's going. I'm going to grab one of the arrows and just drag it over to the side some. Now that should be good. Just enough so when we flatten stuff out, we can still not have it overlapping this one. And then I'm going to click OK. And now this is the active component, that's why it's gray, and this one is like transparent because it's the inactive, it's not active right now. And if I click down here, I can see I've got a bodies folder with all those things in it now. And component one, I'm going to call this flattened. Whoops. Flattened. And that's going to be this one. So I'm going to come up here, I'm going to turn off all the bodies. Those don't matter. Okay, so now I'm going to hit home so it recenters on the object I'm working on. And now I'm going to do the alignment. I know I want to engrave on the top of this face. So this is going to be the set thing I'm engraving on. So every time I flatten a piece out, I'm going to think about what side do I want to engrave on. And I'm going to grab that side. So my upper base is the thing that I'm looking to align to. And on this one, because I'm going to be going from the left, this is the view I'm going to use to put everything down. I want this wall to be face up the way I'm looking at right here so I can engrave on this side of the wall. So I'm going to just do a quick align. Modify, align, and I'm going to say this wall, I'm going to zoom in on it. This face, I want to align to, oh, it's saying components right now. So I need, if that's happening, so I can't select anything else. This is all the same component. So I can't align the component to itself. So I need to say here and say, nope, I want to align bodies. It's a weird distinction, but now it will work. Now you can see I can align to this body. And it doesn't matter where I click on here. I just want to click on here. That puts those two faces together. I'm going to say, OK. Now for me, a computer's running really slow. For me, I'm going to move this one. I'm going to click on this body, and then I'm going to move it this way. I just moved it up. I'm going to look at it from the top, actually, now. And I'm going to move it this way. Make sure I have that right. Yep, I have that right. And now I'm going to click OK. And now I'm going to look at it from not the left side, I'm going to look at it from the front. So I want to compare. Oh, see how much higher it is? It didn't, so when I moved it around, I did mess it up. So I'm going to do, yeah, I'm just going to Control Z that one. There it is. Okay, so now I'm going to do a move and move it out to the side. So let me go back to the top. And I'm going to click on it. And then I'm going to move it. I'm not going to move it this way because I think if I move it left, it'll be like a weird out to the side. I want to keep it parallel. So I'm just going to move it this way. And I'm going to move it like to there. And if I look at it from directly on the front like this, I can now see, okay, now it's perfectly lined up. I'm going to click OK. That's the first one. Now I'm going to go back to the other view that I had. Help me out, left. I'm going to rotate it around. Just figure out how to rotate it. Back, oops. Back to that view, right? And now I got to figure out which one I want to go next. So I'm going to take this one down, and this one, and this one, and this one, and this one. The rest of them I can flatten on any direction I want because I can't see them from my playing direction anyway. Or maybe I would say, hey, as I was going through here, I'm probably going to twist it this way a little bit, so I'll probably see this wall more than the back wall. The idea here is that you can only engrave on one side. Be sure you're thoughtful about what side you're engraving on. Otherwise, you might put your best message that's on this wall right here on the wrong side that no one ever sees, kind of a thing. So make sure you're just lining them up to where you want them. The only one that's weird would be like, I can choose to have maybe just the front. I would put the name of the marble maze name or whatever I'm going to name it on the front outside wall. So I'd put this one lined up, facing up. And then maybe I'd want message on the inside of this wall and inside of this wall. So I'd put those faces facing up. So whichever way you put facing up is the side you're going to engrave stuff on. So just be thoughtful about it. The only other weird one would be the bottom one. Down here, I may want to put like rules of the game or put a big picture down here or something that I have to decorate the maze. So this one, I would click on this face and then come back to the top. Well, let me just do that real quick. So I'm going to align this one because I want the outside to be facing up. So I'm going to just say align. I'm going to click on this one. I'm going to go back up and I'm going to click align to this face. And then I'm going to click, I don't think it flipped it actually. Click OK. I think it just put it on top. So I'm going to do the move tool. I'm going to move it. I'm going to look at it from the side. Yeah, so when I did that, so it took the bottom and it shifted it up and then put the two faces together. So the side I want to engrave is actually upside down right now. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to take this one and I'm just going to flip it 180 degrees. So that's 185. I'm just typing 180 instead of trying to get it there perfectly. Enter. And then before I enter, actually, I'm going to go here. And now I notice that I'm going to go to the front. I'm 2 thicknesses above. It's always going to be a number of thicknesses above. So I'm going to try and move down. Well, let's just try this. I'm going to try and move down 1 thickness. Didn't go down quite far enough. So I'm going to go down 2 times thickness. And now I'm lined up right there. See how that's perfectly in there? So now I'm going to rotate it back to the top. And now I'm going to move it off to a side somewhere. I'm going to move it to this side. So then that's it. You're just trying to get everything. I'm going to move it out a little bit. And then, because I want to leave some room for some more walls in here too. And I'm going to click OK. Oh, you know what? Let me do this for you. Let me help you. No, we'll break it up anyway. So just keep breaking it down that way. So there's no reason to watch the rest of the video. This is going to be me breaking mine down. So at this point, just spend some time flattening everything out. Make sure that you go from a side view, like when I click here on the front or the right view, that, oops, it's upside down. Upside down wouldn't matter, but that everything's right in line with everything else. That's the way we want to break these down, always lining up one edge. All right, best of luck to you. Get everything flattened out, and when you're done flattening out, here's what I want you to do. I want you to come back over here, turn your other bodies back on, and I probably should have taken this one maybe out to the other direction, I don't know, and then hit home so that I can see both the bodies or both the models, and then come up here and turn this one, activate the whole component, so it activates both of them so they're both brown like that. This is the screenshot I'm going to want from you, showing this one totally flattened out and then this one totally assembled. So I wouldn't use this screenshot yet. I'd wait till I flattened all this out, and then this is the overall screenshot I would want, and that's going to go in your class notebook for evaluation. All right, good luck, my friends. Enjoy this project. I know it's a lot of work, but it's really good practice just kind of getting familiar with Fusion. Best of luck to you.